Oh, is
We're
it ready?
almost there. Ah, there we
Okay.
go. Now
All
we're
right.
broadcasting. We're recording. We're on live.
Are we? How about our audio stream?
And yes, the audio stream is
For the butt listeners.
for yes. That's Mary's favorite term.
Broadcast using this tool. BUTT.
All right, and let me get the links together so I can announce it.
Okay.
And while I'm doing that,
Who will
this-
talk idly? No.
right, this is the
Cadets,
Sunny.
talk amongst yourselves.
Smoke them if you got them, which is what they used to say in the Air Force
Yes.
in basic training.
They would say that in the Navy too, but only if the smoking lamp was lit.
Okay.
Only smoking when it was first lit.
No, you can only smoke when the smoking lamp is lit.
Oh, this is episode 147.
Yeah, it is.
Except nowadays, you probably can't smoke on a ship at all. You
Yeah.
go outside on the deck, I guess.
Probably. Smoking's kind of a bad thing anyway.
When I was in, you could smoke in like the mess areas.
Mm-hmm.
There was a smoking section in the mess area.
Mm.
But again, the smoking lamp had to be lit. But I never saw it not lit.
That's funny. All right. So,
Was that in the days where they gave you cigarettes as part of your rations, Matt?
No, it was not. And in basic training, if you smoked, you're lucky if you got to smoke one cigarette a day.
yeah, I remember I had actually, was I smoking in, I think I was I still, I think that's when I just quit because my father had bet me like $50 or something. He bet at the time, way back in the day, that was a lot of money
Yeah.
because he wanted me to stop. He didn't want me to smoke. See, my mother smoked for a long time. And being the competitive person I was, I thought, yeah, or no, it was before the military. So I for 3 weeks, I couldn't smoke. And he'd give me $50 because he thought I would be past it. I won the money and then I went back to smoking. And then I ended up quitting, I think, in tech school, which is right after basic
Yeah.
training. Then I quit.
In the Navy, it's called A school.
A school?
A school.
Okay. So yeah, then I quit. And that was just a good thing. Thanks, Tony.
Yeah.
They
Oh,
reshare
it's
it.
shared privately, it says.
Oh, did you?
No, did I?
This
I-
post was originally shared privately. Be thoughtful about who. Okay, got it.
You can just
I got it.
reshare it.
Yeah,
I don't
there
care.
we go.
I give you
You
verbal
can't, though.
consent.
But you can't. That's
It
the
just
thing.
says be thoughtful.
Yeah.
Oh, you can't do public?
Uh-uh.
All right.
You can share it with individuals. That's why it says be thoughtful. But you can't make it a public post. Once it's shared
I'm not even
privately.
going to bother to share it.
Oh, because it went to my circles, which is still like 200 people.
That's good. And I think probably about 60% of those people are in mine. I have
Really?
others.
Because I have like over 200 followers,
Uh-huh.
but I do not follow anywhere near that many people because I
It
just don't want to
just-
see all that crap in my stream.
So
Yeah.
they. All right. So
Here, wait. I'll reshare it again with the public. And so you guys will get tagged again in it, but that one you can reshare public if you want.
okay. Today is the Marche de la Non Rouge. Remember that?
Is it
Oh.
really?
Yes. I see. I posted that
Are
thing.
you going again?
I may. I mean, they had this fantastic dragon made out of car parts. It was huge, and it was a fire-breathing dragon. I mean, they had it set up with like propane or something, whatever.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God, it
The
was
second
wonderful.
one I got says that it was shared privately, so I bet the first one I got is actually the public one.
Probably.
And the other thing you missed, Matt, is that Burger King is going to sell flame grill fragrance in Japan.
I saw that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, you did see that
Yeah,
one.
I saw that one, but
Uh,
just because it was like all over everything, you didn't have to go looking for tech news. You know what I mean?
yeah. Did you see my one about Florida? You know, the governor of Florida.
It wasn't the governor. It was
Somebody.
It's
The former governor.
Yeah.
well, no,
using
I don't think it was
water
him,
or
though. I think it
climate
was
change? Climate change
wasn't it
gag order,
The
which is an informal.
wasn't it? It's not an official policy anywhere because they didn't write it down. It's all done word of mouth.
Oh, okay. Well, you wouldn't want to write that down.
I know.
So did you hear what I said? Because when I saw the article, I said, I believe the governor of Florida has approved wording like the water is getting higher. Or what's that manatee doing on the credenza?
No, because
But no
the
mention
way
of
I heard
climate
was on
change can be
NPR,
made. Yeah.
and they were talking to
Florida, Miami is
they
in
were-
trouble.
They were talking to the Keys are going to be gone.
Hmm.
But anyway, they were talking to a blogger who blogs about like eco stuff in Florida, like those state parks and things
Oh,
like that.
sure, sure.
And they told her she couldn't. She was posting, and she posts blogs about Florida state stuff all the time.
Hmm.
And they didn't tell her she couldn't use it. They suggested she shouldn't use it, but that if she did use it, she had to make it expressly clear that it was not the opinion of the state of Florida. It was her opinion.
Well, because they didn't want to also scare all the elderly people that are down there.
And real
They're all
estate,
going to drown.
no, real estate
Yeah.
is why they did it.
Mm.
Well, yeah, the elderly people that buy land down there.
Yeah.
and
Well,
houses.
no, real estate developers and stuff. They don't want to scare the developers away
Right.
because that's where Florida. I mean, where else is Florida getting their money? It's all old people that don't do anything.
God's
You
way.
know,
Pretty
No,
much.
that's all right. Well, now that we've said that on our Google or on Hangouts,
Yeah.
I mean, my
He's
mom
joking.
lives there. My mom moved to Florida.
did she?
Yeah.
Wow.
In case you're not familiar with our show, this is not our normal topic stuff.
Yeah. We
We're not actually
you're
doing the
you're
show
looking
yet
at you're viewing and listening and cringing at
to
the
our
raw
pregame.
the raw audio video and not the actual show. So just so that you know, we should actually make a little announcement just as soon as we turn on the Hangouts, just so people know. Or maybe we don't turn the Hangouts on until we're ready to go. All right. Well, I'm ready.
All
Are
right.
you guys ready?
I still gotta get the website up.
All right. Then you have a few seconds while I
Hmm.
run our intro.
The Sunday Morning Linux Review, starring Mary Talmadge, Tony Venus, and Matt Enders as the Beaver.
And this is episode 147.
Spring.
Spring.
Did
that's
that sound
right.
good? It feels good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm down to just a hoodie. That's all I wore today. No more winter coat.
Hey, we didn't say our names.
No, we didn't. And
You're
this is Tony Bemis.
Matt Enders.
And Mary Tomich.
All right.
Just to make sure
Yeah.
everyone knows.
Yeah. After we got the emails from last week, I don't want anybody getting
Confusing
me
us.
confused with
Hey.
you, Matt.
Yeah,
That guy is mentally unbalanced.
we'll
That's all I have to say.
we'll talk about
Yeah,
that
we'll
later
talk about that
during our
tomorrow.
listener feedback.
Anyway,
Yeah.
so yeah, welcome. And so it's spring because it actually started spring, what, 2 days
Friday,
ago?
I think around
Friday
6,
night?
a little after 6 p.m. on Friday night. I was at the
Yeah.
Detroit Institute of Arts viewing the Frida Kahlo exhibit. So I was getting culturized.
All right.
So
Yeah, and that's open to all county residents, right? There's
Oh, yeah,
no
that's a s-
admission for
yeah, not to the
to
DIA,
the DIA.
but
but-
to the to that it's a special exhibit, so there is a small admission fee.
Yeah, whenever they do that, like when they did that Picasso exhibit.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
Otherwise,
I went to that Picasso.
you're free to go
exhibit.
to the museum anytime. It's
Nice.
a great place.
Yeah, and they have it segregated, so it's not like you won't just stumble upon. At least they did when they had
Oh,
the
yeah.
Picassos.
Oh yeah, it's up on the second
Right.
floor, and you've got to take the elevator,
yeah.
and then it's a yeah. You're right.
Right. Cool.
So anyway, all right.
So yeah.
So what happened? So somebody needs to start and tell us.
Actually, I had a very boring week. I didn't really do anything. I've been very diligently working on my presentations for PenguinCon, working on some scripts for work.
I should be too.
I'm glad that one of us. I'm glad that one of us is.
Oh, it's just I'm overwhelmed. I've been working on that book review for Tarsnap Mastery by Michael Lucas.
Yeah, that's going to be
All right.
happening next episode.
Next
'Cause
episode.
This episode is a distro review episode.
Yes.
We'll talk about that later.
Yep. And also next episode, we'll Kevin O'Brien's coming on talk about Penguicon.
Maybe we should
Yep.
just end this episode and start that one. Sounds like a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
No, I'm not ready. I'm about halfway
That's right. I
done.
want to. I worked hard on that distal review. I want to give that distal review. So, all right. Well, Tony, what about you?
All right. Well, this week, busy stuff. I got classes and work, and um, at work we did a switch upgrade and added a couple
Mhm.
switches to our warehouse because that's where our deployment guides are going to be sitting. So they image the computers there before they go out to the hospitals.
Hmm.
Um, and they gave me the switches and said go ahead and do it. So like
Were
more
you nervous?
responsibility.
Were you
No,
nervous when you were doing
no, I
it?
felt really good.
Great.
And everything went smooth. I plugged them all
Ah.
in and I did the thing. There was maybe 5 minutes of downtime, and I had to reconfigure the interfaces on the router and
Uh-huh.
the have everything up and running. It was
Yeah, but didn't you do that all in advance?
not the router. I couldn't because once I reconfigure the router, then it takes down the current switch. So I had to do that right then. But it's really just
Right,
copy
but
and
the
paste.
way they do it at work is they do it as an image on like their laptop, and then what they do is they push the new image, reboot the router.
Oh no, we don't have to with and I because I didn't want to do the entire thing with the Cisco routers. You can just update a section of the configuration. So and it was just one interface. I had to turn one interface on and take that config and put it on the other interface. You can do it all in Notepad, copy and paste it in uh, as on the fly. So it really took me like 2 minutes to do that part. But
Our
the
network guys are always complaining that they have to schedule a maintenance window just to add a VLAN to
Really?
a switch,
really,
even though that's not going to cause any downtime.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's pretty bad.
Our management is very paranoid
I
about
thought you were a pirate.
our management is very paranoid about making accidental downtime, so they force them to schedule a maintenance window.
That's pretty
it's
bad.
well, I think maybe it's just cautious.
Well, the thing is, the
Overly
VLANs,
cautious. Yeah,
it
it's not-
doesn't make
What
any
is-
effect
uh-huh.
until you actually apply that VLAN to
What
a
is a
port.
VLAN? Is that a virtual
It's a
local
virtual
area network?
Yeah. So
Right.
you can do is you can have one network switch
Lucky me.
and have multiple networks on that one switch, and like
Mhm.
2 ports can be for your VoIP, and 2 ports can be for a server, and like 10 ports can be for desktops. And then
Right.
say you add another one in because you're going to throw a wireless access point on there
Well, we just have so many VLANs
or whatever.
because we put all of our IP ranges that we assign to servers are different VLANs.
Yeah.
So just so that we can't get crosstalk from
Excellent.
Right, but you can add a VLAN without affecting any
exactly,
ports,
exactly.
and it's not like you're adding the interface. It's just saying allow.
Allow
this
this
VLAN.
VLAN on the switch. Yeah,
Yeah.
allow this VLAN traffic. This tag.
Although if they do it wrong, they can remove all VLANs off of that,
Well, we
Trunk.
should take that switch.
which would take it down and cause downtime, and so I can see that part of why they would be
Yeah,
paranoid about it. But
that's. Come on.
right, well, because there's the
But-
configuration is if you say just add like VLAN 445. Then it removes all VLANs and adds just that one
Yes.
VLAN to the trunk. But so you have to copy
It's
what's
like when
there.
you add groups in Linux. It's you
Exactly.
use the wrong switch, you wind up with just that one group
Yeah.
rather than it being added.
Yeah.
Hmm.
So that was my
Well,
fun for the
I
week.
think it's probably best practices to add that maintenance, to do that, or schedule it for a maintenance window.
It's best paranoid practicing.
I'm more in favor of YOLO.
YOLO.
You only live once, baby. Boom.
Yeah, but you could get fired once too. But
Yeah.
anyway, so
I have a script in my bash RC called YOLO.
All right.
all right.
We won't talk
So
about what
and
it
then on
does.
top of work stuff, then I had a bunch of computers to work on the last couple weeks.
Years or family members? Or?
No,
friends
for
and
his-
family.
for his business, probably.
Oh,
Yeah, or I'm not really doing the business anymore. I'm just doing it for friends and family. But it's like I had 2 laptops. One had a broken screen. Another one, no, I actually had like 6 laptops to work on. One had a cracked screen, so I replaced that. Another one had a broken hinge, so I just had to replace the one
Duct
hinge.
tape.
Right. And then 2 new laptops for my sisters. Viruses on a couple other ones, and
Oh, geez. So you're busy.
yeah.
You know,
Wow.
I tell them I remove one virus for free. After that, Linux
50
or Linux or I don't do anything.
$50 a virus.
Linux or I don't do anything.
Yeah.
One virus for free. That's your first virus removal is free. After that,
Yeah, and then $100 a piece, and there's 250 in your computer. So you
Whoa.
Yeah, because there's
Wow.
never just one.
Right.
wow. Were these
No, that's not.
Windows 7 machines or XP?
Windows 7.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Do they have virus programs on?
Actually, the one didn't. It expired. Like the year after they bought it was like 2011.
But they still see that little icon down there,
Right.
so it's still doing it. Yeah.
So
Yeah,
so after I
that's-
cleaned
yeah.
it out, I uninstalled anything virus or antivirus kind of that was related on that computer, and then reinstalled.
Mhm.
I just put Microsoft Security Essentials.
Yeah.
I know it's not the best, but
You know what?
it's easy.
If you
It's
read the comparisons, it's close enough to AVG and Avast that
yeah.
Just
And
for
and it's not going to prompt them in a year to upgrade or
Yeah,
pay
exactly.
or for a new version, and so I figured it's
Wow,
it's
still
easy.
Yeah. Microsoft's
because when I
love.
was still doing the Windows support for schools and things like that, I switched. I had started out using AVG, and then I switched over to the Essentials
Mhm.
from Windows Essentials.
Yeah,
all right.
cool. Well, that was my week. What did you do, Mary? Or
Not
bi-week?
much. Just plugged away on my Python course. It's starting to make a little more sense now. I had troubles with the loops, I got to tell you, while and for and all that, because they give you exercises and you have to replicate. They have this auto grader.
What problem did you have with the loops?
Well, they gave you this exercise so that your output had to match their output, and I did, and then it came back and said, but you didn't use this, and I thought, oh crap, so it must read my code, so I had to go back and redo it so that I had the correct loop in there, and then it worked. It just when you don't do that on a regular basis and you'll first learn about it, it's just a little bit of a challenge because I had to count down. In other words, not to drag us further off course here, but one of the exercises was to take a variable had been assigned, I think the word banana or any fruit, and then what the loop had to do is to take and list the word spelled backwards, each character on a line, and so I did that at first. It counted down, and then it counted back up again. So I had it twice. So I went down to B, and then I went back up to banana underneath. And I thought, how did I do that? Oh my gosh, it was crazy. But I got past it, and now it's starting to make sense. So I'm happy about that. And I had planned to do a little FreeBSD checking or testing of this thing that was posted in Google Plus about recovering a root password. Not that I've lost my root password, but I wanted to see if it could be done. But I just didn't have time to do it. And then I worked on my distro review. So that's it.
Because I was having a real problem with a while loop in a script I was writing this week too. I was doing a file check to see if first I wanted to make sure that the file was not empty, which is easy at -s, right? But it was I couldn't get it to work right because then sometimes it would when I wrote it one way and the file wasn't there or was empty, was there but empty.
Okay.
It would work right. But then it would also throw the same error it was supposed to throw when there was an empty file, when there was a file with data.
Oh.
But it would do the data with what it was supposed to do with the data, and then throw the error at the bottom. I'm like, what the f are you doing?
Yeah.
And I just couldn't get it figured out. So finally, I had to give up, and because then I tried saying not.
I did that a few times.
So then I had to give up and just post a question on Stack Overflow. Got my answer in like 20 minutes. I'm like,
Oh.
the answer was just don't use the while loop.
Oh.
Do it differently. I'm like, oh, I can
Yeah,
do that.
that part of the thing
Just use an if statement
is
instead of a while
overthinking.
loop.
Yeah, overthinking
Yep.
it or making it more complicated than it is, and that I've done that.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So it all works now.
excellent.
Yeah.
It's good to hear. So okay, I guess we'll move on then.
Yes.
All right. So first up is
Matt, What's happening with the Colonel?
Matt's Colonel.
It is the Kernel News that as soon as I move this window off the top of my browser, I'll have for you. There we go.
Excellent.
So the main line is at 4.0-RC4, released on 3.16. And then the newest stable kernel is 3.19.2, released on 3.18. Then we have 3.14, long-term kernel 3.14.36, released on 3.18. Long-term kernel 3.12.39, released on 3.19. Long-term kernel 3.10.72, released on 3.18. And that's all for the kernel news.
Thank you, Matt.
You're
Yeah, thanks,
welcome.
Matt. I kind of miss your kernel developer quote of the week. Is there any chance we'd ever get that back?
There is certainly a chance, and
I'll
how
help.
about I will have one for next time.
All right.
All right. Then I guess we're going on to
Tony, what's going on with the Linux distributions this week?
the distros for this by week.
Yeah, we had some listener feedback on this too.
That's right. It's for this first one.
Yes, it is.
We did. Did I miss it?
Yeah,
Oh,
Apparently.
if you didn't read it, you did.
I must have missed it.
It came in today.
Oh, I did. I didn't see
Yeah.
it then. Okay.
At
Um,
2:40, he says he's anticipating.
Tony's review of this particular
See,
distro.
Yeah, he spells it Makalulu.
he does that on purpose.
he does that
I know.
because you say that.
It was is that Julian?
All right.
Yeah. So starting off on 3/9, that's March 9th, 2015.
Mhm.
We have Makalulu Linux.
Makulu.
Makulu.
Yeah, get rid of the
I
between there.
did that time. I didn't
You
say
didn't
it.
say the
I said
A, but you still
Makalulu.
added the extra Olu.
I did Lulu Lu
There you go.
Makalulu.
Maklulu, yes. That's not what
Okay.
you said.
All right.
Maklulu.
Makalulu. That's Mary's. Makalulu.
Makulu.
Makulu,
Not Maklulu.
not
Makulu.
Maka.
All right.
Right. You know,
Anyway.
I don't know if you guys noticed, but in this 2-week segment, the number of production-ready distros on the list is very short. So the fact that we're spending time on this is not going to impact the show length.
All right. But this is
Just wanted to
version
mention that.
8.0 Cinnamon
Mhm.
Edition, which anything that starts using Cinnamon is awesome, I think.
Yeah, and
My favorite window manager.
Yeah, well,
desktop.
we all
Isn't it
can't
full
use
desktop?
KDE, the best window manager.
Desktop. Yeah, KDE is the best.
And it's a desktop environment. Not
We
necessarily
probably
desktop.
alienated half our listeners. And by the way, too, this particular release of Makulu or Makalulu includes
Never changed him.
what they're calling the Makulu construction kit. Now, what this does is it offers an extremely easy way to build distros. And according to Jacques, who is the maintainer of this distro, he says you can now shave months and months of build time and put out a Debian distro in a matter of days or weeks, depending on your development speed. So, and on their site, they've got a video, which I did watch, at least probably 3/4 of it when I was prepping. And he walks you through it. And he's got all these scripts are in the background that have already been prepped that do a lot of that heavy lifting so that you can then spend your time on kind of configuring what you want.
Right,
you know,
making
at
the
upper
tweaks you
level.
want. for
Yeah,
your distro.
exactly. Before you roll it out. So it was pretty cool. And I think that he's requesting money for that, which kind of makes sense.
Is he not? He's requesting like donations.
Yeah, but I don't think you can get the constructor kit unless you donate. So
Ah,
he's kind of shut that
he's
off.
doing it as like a perk.
Yeah, it's a perk, but you have to pay for that.
No. That's what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Oh, yeah.
He's doing it as like a perk for his donators. You
Mhm.
donated, so now you get this tool.
Yeah, but I think you have to donate $100
Well, yeah.
for a year's worth of, and it includes the kit, the support, and that type of thing. So
Now, does he only distribute it in binary form so that you can't really
I
give it away?
don't
or-
think so. I think he probably is hoping that the honor system holds, and I think it generally does.
I believe so too.
mean,
you know,
people.
you never saw book sales go up so much as when you remove DRM. Like No Starch did that
Mhm.
thing recently with with what's the game? The game
Steam?
Humble Bundle,
Oh, Humble
Oh,
Bundle.
and they did that Humble Bundle book thing for
Mhm.
kids, and they
Yeah.
sold like $840,000 worth of books in
wow.
like 3 weeks or something.
Well, I
Yeah.
didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah, it's I think most people do the right thing. But just to wrap up, Makulu, he said, now even the dumbest guy in the world can build a distro.
Yay.
Oh,
Hey Tony, let's put out a distro.
The SMLR.
and one other little thing, a note that I kind of chuckled at, as he was doing his video, the screen kind of it went from full blown screen to just the less than full blown, whatever that's called, restore down, whatever, with the button you hit up there in the corner. Anyway,
Okay.
he was he's running that Linux stuff in a Windows 8.
VM.
Yeah,
Oh.
I laughed. I thought, oh my god, that was funny. So anyway, but that aside,
Which was running in a VM on Linux.
oh, probably I just missed that part. But anyway, that constructor kit seems pretty cool, just based on what I saw. So okay,
All right.
that's all I have on that.
That's all.
Yeah.
All right. On the 12th, we have Shakara GNU Linux 15 to-
Commonly known as Chakra.
Chakra.
You know, Tony, I think it does sound attractive though.
Kara.
Shakara.
Chakra. What did you call it, Mary?
Chakra.
Chakra. What did you call it, Mary?
Chakra.
Chakra.
All
I
right.
Americanized it.
You ever seen that?
I'm an ugly
Seen that
American.
commercial? Shays. Oh my
Yes.
god.
And
We're
then
not going
he's in the
there,
kitchen
everyone.
Doing J's,
Shays.
and she's out on the shade doing Shays.
We're not. That's it. For anyone who's outside the U.S., there's this commercial where they're kind of going back and forth on how to pronounce what I call Chase Lounge.
Yeah, Chase Lounge.
Chase Lounge. That's how I do it.
Me too, because
she's-
I'm an American.
But anyway, so but it's chakra.
All right.
Chakra.
Yeah.
Continue, Tony.
And this is an update to their Euler series. Is that how you say it? Euler?
Euler.
EULER.
Anyone?
Euler.
Bueller.
Anyone?
Euler.
Euler, was it? Was he? He was a mathematician.
I have no idea.
Yeah, he was. I think he came up with something.
Hmm.
I apologize. I didn't even look it up.
I don't know either.
I almost confused him with Escher, the guy that you would.
Oh,
kind
yeah,
of
the stairs.
Yeah, oh my God. So anyway, but Tony will research that while I mention a couple things about Chakra. Their installer is called Tribe, which I think it took them a while to kind of get that thing ready for prime time. But it apparently now has gained support for UEFI installations. And although it doesn't currently officially support RAID, LVM, and GPT, he said, but you could probably find some workarounds on the forum. So they've got a couple of limitations in detecting hybrid card. I'm only saying negative things about Chakra. Remember, I ran it for a while
Yes, you did.
because that is a KDE-centric
Yes,
distro.
they are. And they're
Um,
cutting edge KDE.
Yeah, and they spun off from, I think, Arch. So they use Pac-Man. But anyway, so they said you could definitely use free drivers and then switch manually to the proprietary ones. So
All right. Yeah, it's the Euler method is is an SN order for numerical procedures for solving ordinary differential equations.
E.g., he's a mathematician.
That's right.
yep, yeah.
Kinda like
And
that
it says
pro football
also
player.
see the Euler calculus.
He was a pioneering Swiss mathematician and physicist. So there you go. So related to calculus. I remember hearing about him when I took calculus in college.
All right.
I left the word tutor out of that sentence.
I never took calculus.
I did, but I
It
had
took
to have
me
a
2 tries to get algebra 1.
I took it, but I had to have tutorial help, tutor. I paid
Yeah.
money for a tutor to help me,
Yeah.
and I passed.
I never did calc either. I did all the math up to calc, and then it wasn't
Trig and
required for
geometry.
Yeah,
my
so algebra 1, algebra
degree.
2, and trig.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it wasn't degree. The calc wasn't required for my degree, so I didn't continue on with that.
Well, that makes sense.
But I tutored.
Why
I
prolong the
was-
math pain?
Right.
You don't need to.
I was actually the tutor for all the lower maths.
Were you?
Yeah, at the community
Cool.
college. They paid me like $25 a session, And so I'm like, hey, I'm at school anyways. Why not?
I think it's all in how you teach it because I had sometimes teachers or professors or instructors just don't know how to teach math. They know
You know-
math, but they don't know how to teach it.
Well, especially if they're mathematicians, because
Yes.
mathematicians are a special breed.
You know what made me or helped me pass a couple of my classes is I tutored the class I was actually in. I tutored another student that was in there. So he and I would sit down and go over the material again, and then I would actually remember it and be able to pass tests.
So he was tutoring you, but he didn't know it. No.
Right.
Oh, funny.
That's
Yeah.
actually pretty smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's just that reinforcement.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Next up we have is Robo Linux 7.8.3.
Yeah, they've been busy.
Yeah. And so they're Debian stable, and they have all sorts of desktops, which they're announcing the Ultra X10 privacy and security, which I have no clue what that means.
Well,
I think it has to do with that new application they're
So,
offering,
the
the stealth text vault.
yeah, you know what that is?
No,
Hmm.
go ahead.
It uses StegHide,
Oh, I know
a
what that is.
steganography program
Yes.
which hides
Hide
bits
hide
of a
your
data
stuff
file.
in
Yes.
a photo. Steganography. I was into that for a
Exactly.
while and played. This was a few years ago, but I was into it for a while and played
Mhm.
around with steganography. It's really, really cool.
Yeah, because on their site I watched a video there too that showed the process, and yeah, it prompts for the photo and the text file, and then I think there's also a password that's required. So it will then embed it in that photo. He opens the photo with the text embedded, and you can't tell when you
Not
look
at
at
all.
it, not at all. And then when it comes time to extract the text file, then it kind of reverses that process. And then he opened the extracted text and compared it to the original, and they were identical.
Yes, and as long as you're only doing text files and
Mhm.
only putting like maybe a handful or so per picture, it doesn't change the size enough to really throw people off either.
Yeah,
But when
yeah.
I used to play around with it, I stuck a picture in a picture. That really changes your size.
Yeah.
It doesn't change the picture though.
No.
Okay.
The picture's still fine,
Yeah.
but it really changes the
Yeah,
size.
so
You know what,
that's
Matt? You know,
StegHide.
yeah, at your work, you're supposed to encrypt all your passwords. You know what you should do is hide the passwords inside a picture and then encrypt that. So if anybody decrypts it, they think it's just a picture.
I'll keep that in mind, Tony.
All right, all right. Next up is.
See, I already figured out how you
Wow,
could
we're just
fool the
scrolling too
NSA
much
too
here.
with that.
How?
Well, easy. What you kind of break stuff up and you have diverse. So in other words, you don't put the full text in one picture. It's just put out in different pictures on different forums. Might be an avatar. I mean, you just do it that way, and then they'd have to know that that's been done. But if it's been done by different people who have coordinated by snail mail about this, then they would never
Well,
know.
or even if it's done by different fictitious people, it
Mhm.
won't lead back to you.
Yeah, yeah. Go to internet cafes. Wear an anonymous mask.
But don't use Tor
Oh yeah.
because Tor is crackable, as in they can find
Hackable.
out who you are and where you are connecting from. So it gives you a false sense of security, and that's pretty much it.
All right. All right, we're back on track, Tony. Back
All
to
right.
you.
All right, coming on. We're on to the 18th with PF Sense 2.2.1. And this is just a bug fix update. And if you're not sure what PF Sense, and we've talked about it a lot, it's
Yeah.
a firewall distro, and it's actually what I'm using for my router here.
hmm Based
Um,
on FreeBSD.
Exactly.
I thought we missed the distribution release.
No, we have not.
Yes, I think we did.
Which one? Oh, Oracle.
Yes.
Oh, well. Continuing on, we have.
We did.
I guess Oracle Linux 7.1.
I even missed them in my list of comments. Actually, we have a news item about them.
All right.
And
Yes,
it's
we'll
not
cover it.
bad dot solutions.
Oh, no, but has to do with the rebranding of Red Hat's material, including their kernel. What's the thing that it's like a little signature key or something like that? They just instead of having,
Yeah.
we'll talk about it in
Yeah.
the news. But
I hate Oracle. Oracle and Larry Ellison need to die.
oh, well, we okay. All right, we're gonna move on. And
All right.
get back-
Last on the list is came out yesterday. It was 3/21, and it's Neptune 4.3, um, which is just bug updates, bug release fix updates.
for the most part, yeah, they said UEFI support will only work with GPT partition schemes and a FAT32 UEFI boot partition with the boot flag, without secure boot enabled. If you
Hmm.
got all that.
Right.
So yeah, and I pulled that from a quick review of their site. So yeah, so that's Neptune. But let's see, I was going to say something about PFSense. Yeah, they said that as always, they said you can upgrade from any previous version straight to 2.2.1, which is this current release. So for anyone running 2.2, it's they characterize that upgrade as a low risk upgrade. So apparently anything earlier than that might have a slightly greater risk.
Well, anytime you jump version numbers,
Yeah.
you can really screw stuff up.
Yeah, that's true. I've experienced that firsthand.
Me too.
All right. So
I think
All right.
anybody that uses Linux at some point in their life has experienced that.
oh yeah, wasn't it recently? I think maybe a couple of versions ago. I think I upgraded Kubuntu like right after it became available. I usually wait at least a few
Give it
days to a week.
My philosophy is give it at least a month.
Yeah, and I didn't, and I had problems, and I said never again. So I'll wait at least 2 days. It's coming. Oh, this next release of Kubuntu is going to have the KDE Plasma 5. I'm looking forward
Well,
to it.
all right.
All right.
Okay, I guess we're moving on.
I'm moving on to the top 5 for this week. Starting off number 5, we have Evolve with 1338.
And trending up. And that's kind of odd that we have a distro in there like Evolve that did not have a distro release.
Yeah,
It's somebody gamed the system.
must be.
I'm serious.
They're evolving the distro watch system now. Anyway, number 4 is Manjaro with 1369.
And trending down.
Number 3 is Debian with 1470.
And trending down.
Number 2 is Ubuntu with 1678.
And trending up.
And then in the number 1 spot is Mint
Gotta love that minty goodness.
with 3606.
And trending up.
All right.
Well, actually, I think Evolve, and they are using the Budgie desktop. They're out of the UK, and I think they did have an update. I believe it was just a development release back last week, last Monday. So that's Ike Doherty.
Hmm.
That's his baby.
Oh yeah, I
That's
heard about
why
that.
they got that bump.
Yeah.
Because of him and the fact that it's a new distro. So
That's right.
cool.
All right. Next up, we have.
What distro are you reviewing this week, Mary?
Well, this week, and it's I'm doing a mat. I don't even have it open. Just kidding. It's open now. This episode's review is of a remix of a major Linux distro. That major Linux distro is Fedora. The remix is Corora.
Ooh.
So would I adora Corora at the end of this
With its
review,
fabulous and incredible partitioner.
or would I abhor Corora at the end of this review? Let's find out. Well, first the vitals. The name, this particular release is Corora 21 Darla. The maintainer is Chris Smart. He's the founder and lead developer of the project, and he's kind of the lead of the team. There's a team of 4 guys that maintain this, plus other supporters. The distro's latest birthday was February 6, 2015. As I mentioned, it's a derivative of Fedora. The kernel in this particular release is 3.18.3, and the review desktop, although Corora supports the 4 major desktops, can anyone name them? Anyone?
Let's see, GNOME,
Mm-hmm.
KDE, LXDE, and XFCE.
LXDE is not a major.
Well, they're wrong.
I think I had cinnamon in there. But anyway, I chose the default GNOME 3.14 is what they had available. Now, getting Corora is as easy as answering a few simple questions on their website. The version, because you can still download Corora 20, the bit, whether it's 32 or 64 bit, and the preferred desktop. And the system requirements are also modest. You can have as low as 32-bit system, 1 gig of RAM, and 10 gigs of free space. But you can also get the 64-bit version. I think for my laptop, my testing laptop, I downloaded the 64-bit version. Now, Corora Live DVD boots to a polished GNOME 3 desktop. Corora has its own theme, which includes a very attractive set of icons compared to the standard GNOME approach. I have to say that I thought their icons were really nicely consistent and look great because they're circular and they've got a little picture that again, it's stylistic. It's very consistent across all of them. I just thought they did a very nice job on this, and I went to check to see what they were, and that's what they were. They're the Corora set. Because in GNOME you'll have icons and they look nice, but they're not all circles. They might be like VLC is just the little orange and white cone, that type of thing. These
Well,
are all
'cause they used that they're using VLC's logo.
They are, but they've got them all in little
Yeah,
circles.
well, Corora did.
Yeah,
When they
Corora
made their
did.
icon theme.
Yeah,
did that.
they did, and I thought it was very nice. The GNOME toolbar, notification panel, and activities are located in their standard positions, left, top, and right, respectively. A welcome dashboard greets you with several options, including documentation support and project. Now, of most interest to me were the new features listing new features for the current release. Build Corora, which opened a browser to GitHub where Corora's packaging tool was located, so you can go ahead and roll your own if you want, if you've got the skill to do it. Also, finally, Install Corora was available to begin the install process. One note is after install, when I rebooted, that welcome screen no longer showed that install icon. So I'm also happy to report that I encountered no difficulty with the Broadcom wireless chip or graphics. So +1 for Corora. Yeah, so I had a wireless from the get-go once I installed it. So that was very nice. No drivers or any of that other kind of crap. The defaults, Firefox comes installed, although you can add Epiphany from the repositories. The Office suite is LibreOffice 4.3.5. The default mail client is Evolution, and the file manager is Files 3.14, which is the repackaged Nautilus.
Yeah, the choice of Evolution as the mail client shows their commitment to lightweight.
Close / sarcasm. Oh, but anyway, but you can get Thunderbird, as I said, Epiphany, and other alternatives from the repositories. Now on to the install. Corora conveniently had an install icon on the left side toolbar, as well as the one on the welcome screen, as I previously noted. The first few steps are the typical ones for keyboard and localization. Then we come to partitioning. Corora uses Fedora's partitioning process. It's still not as polished and intuitive as I think it should be, and that's all I will say about it. I ended up using the whole disk because you just, it's just
because it makes sense.
I can't
and you
find.
Just need to...
Yeah, you just need to give over your whole disk
No,
to.
I have
did.
several partitions, and they're all fine.
Well, I had to get done with this by today, so I just gave up the whole thing. Let's see here. The rest of the install was smooth. I selected a username and password as well as a password for the root user. I appreciated not having to create that root user password after the install like I have to do with my Ubuntu-based system. In other words, once you don't have a root password, you can't get to root unless you set that up.
Well,
because
and CentOS too. During install, the only password that you have to give it is the root password. You don't have to create a second user during the install.
Oh, let's see, these guys prompt for it, but
I mean, I do, because there's a button to click to do it.
Yeah.
And it's just,
I
mean, I've got to do something while it installs. So
yeah. Oh, but anyway, so the installed environment. Now, after the base install, I was cycled through some additional welcome configuration screens, including language and keyboard, which I thought I had already done during the install. So that was a little confusing.
Yeah, but no, see, and CentOS is that way too.
Oh, it's for the user.
Exactly.
Oh, okay.
No, it's for what it's using during the install.
Okay, I gotcha.
That's the first thing you do is you pick your language and your keyboard selection. It's for what it's going to use during the install. That's what that's for. At least in CentOS.
Huh? Because I don't. Well, that's interesting. Okay. Well, that solves that little problem. So
Yeah,
one
because it
little
makes sense to assume that you're not going to be using the same language you install the computer on, does it? Or you run the install for it? I don't know. You would think
They
that you'd
don't
be able to
wanna-
grab
they
those
don't
settings.
Tony is
wanna make-
quiet, but he comes out with some really good
They
observations.
don't want to make assumptions because when you assume, you make an ass out
Out
of
of
you
you and
and me.
Yeah,
and
I've
he,
heard
and
that.
you were looking at Tony when you said that, right? All right. All right. I'm going to get back to my little review.
All right.
Let's see here. So after, okay, I already talked about cycle through those things, which we've agreed. I think we've all agreed that it was for the user.
Well, not the user.
What you said.
Yeah.
I agree. Then I was prompted to connect to my online accounts. Available options were Google, OwnCloud, Windows Live, Facebook. No thanks. The Getting Started dashboard let you launch applications, switch tasks, or respond to messages. Lists of common tasks were at the bottom, or a list of common tasks was at the bottom of the window. I discovered that the minimize and maximize buttons are off by default. Now, those buttons, of course, are the along the window frame there in the upper right corner. It either opens or you close it. I think that was kind of crazy. What's up with that? I had to go to the Tweak Tool utility, which is actually a nice little tool that gathers all those configuration things in one spot. Under the Windows category to change this configuration. My guess is this was done to allow the side panels, the toolbar on the left, and then that I think the activities panel that slides out with your different desktops on the right.
My vote is because it's GNOME, and GNOME sucks.
Well, the nice thing is you can change it, but my guess is that's probably why they did it. But the good news is I said you can change that, and I wasted no time in doing that. I want to spend a little time discussing the Documents app. First of all, Documents in the Places menu is different from Documents in the toolbar. Documents in the toolbar simply opens an instance of files, the GNOME default file manager. But on the left toolbar, when I say toolbar, I'm talking about at the top. That's the panel at the top. But on the left toolbar, Documents is actually GNOME Documents. It's a document manager that lets you display, organize, and print local documents, or those you created remotely using Google Docs, OwnCloud, or OneDrive. I decided to give it a spin and created 2 short documents locally in LibreOffice. After connecting my Google account and opening the local documents folder, I was able to see my Google Drive content as well as my local content. So that documents utility on the desktop displayed my Google stuff as well as my local stuff, which I thought was kind of
Wow,
cool.
that is neat.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
that won't be
I mean-
confusing at all.
Well, no,
What
you
does
can
it
tell.
matter?
No. Here's the interesting thing is that there is a little emblem on each one that to which it applies. For example, I think I had shared something with you from my Google Drive a long time ago, and it showed a little share thing on it. And I think you were the person that it shared. It was pretty cool the way it was set up. I was impressed
But
with
if
it.
none of the documents are shared,
Then it,
just by looking at the icons, can you tell which one is on Google Docs and which one is on your hard drive?
yeah,
Okay, not as bad as I originally assumed.
okay, yeah, I'm pretty sure I could by name.
Oh jeez.
No, I think so. I'd have to go back and take a look at that. That's a great question, though, Matt. And unfortunately, I didn't take a mental picture of that, so I can report
You
on
just
it.
got sucked into the shiny, Mary.
I did. The shiny object on the side of the path. I was there picking that little penny up. But anyway, so let's see here. So after connecting my Google, so I went back and connected my Google account, as you probably surmised. Let's see, I was able to see my Google Drive content as well as my local content. However, I could not view locally created content in Documents because this library or this file, UnoConv, that's UNOCONV, was not installed. Now, this surprised me because UnoConv is a command line. It's a command line utility to convert for export or import any document format that LibreOffice can handle. To me, that should have already been installed, because LibreOffice was installed and this documents viewer or this manager was already installed. After all, it's required for GNOME Documents, but GNOME Documents prompted me to install it. Regardless of the password I used, either my user password or roots, it refused to install from the graphical interface. I had to open a terminal window and run install from there as root. Yum, install, UnoConv. Yum. I just think that's crazy.
Yeah, I have sudo yum install
Mhm.
alias to the word install. So
Yeah.
as my local user, I can just say install and then program and bang it's
Nice, very nice.
Hey,
Yeah. So I get it. I always crack up when I go yum install. Anyway, but I did that from a root terminal. I rebooted like a Windows monkey, and I was ready to test real time on the fly immediate rsync type document updating. For the test, I opened a Google Drive document that was also available locally in Documents. Any change I made on the local copy on the left side. So basically, what happens, I had the document open on my Google Drive and locally.
Right, you had it open in the Google Docs.
Yes.
So it
Yep.
was open in Google Docs and it was open on your local drive.
Yes. And here's what is so cool is any change I made here showed up here.
How long was the lag?
Any change, probably about, I'd say maybe 2 seconds.
That's not bad. That's pretty good.
Yeah, and any change you made over here showed up over here. And for those of you who are only listening, I was gesturing
with their
with
hands.
my right hand and my left hand. I think you probably get the picture. Is that whatever change I made on the Google Drive document showed up in the
Right.
GNOME Documents
and,
version.
and vice versa.
Yes, exactly. So I was very impressed with that.
That's pretty impressive.
It was. It was. Let's see here. So anyway, but this particular functionality has been available since GNOME 3.8. Now, after connecting my Google Plus account, whenever I booted the desktop, notifications alerted me for my calendar and all sorts of stuff, which is kind of convenient if that's what you want to do. So. Now, as far as interesting programs, Corora prefigured several third-party repositories so users can install additional software such as Adobe Flash, Dropbox, Google Chrome, RPM Fusion, which I've never heard of.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with it?
I don't know. I don't know if I have it on my laptop or not, but like on my servers,
Mhm.
the only extra repository that I install other than I install the 3 CentOS ones, the
Mhm.
for base and extras, and I forget what the updates I think is the other one.
Yeah.
And then I install EPL. And other than that, I don't really.
Yeah, because their base repository set includes the Fedora repositories, which I think has got like over 1,700 packages. They've got the RPM Fusion, which has 51, and then the Corora Zone, which has 36, and then they've got Adobe just for the Flash, and that's just one package in there. But programs of interest included that are included with the base install included the Fedora Live USB Creator. Are you familiar with that, Matt? I was kind of impressed with it because
Yeah.
it is a creator. It's a live creator, USB creator from Live Fedora Images. You've got a choice of versions for workstations, servers, net install, scientific. I guess the scientific version really just comes focused with scientific type packages like math, that kind of stuff. Anyway, games, robotics. Now it's available for both 32 and 64-bit systems. Very impressive. Handbrake is already installed in Corora. I thought that was well. I like that, and it's
I
kind
have
of.
never used it.
Oh, I've used it.
I
I've
use
taken
it.
my
It's nice.
DVDs and I've taken the DVD movies and
not
put them on little discs
I'm
to
not
travel
a
with
big
me.
movie guy.
Well, then yeah, then that would be something for you. But what I like about it is that they've already taken care of the libDVD, CSS2, I think, those underlying dependencies that have to be added. They've taken care of all of that, so that's very nice. Something called Farlap. Farlap. That's Corora's driver manager. It was originally based on Ubuntu's Jockey, but when it was deprecated, the Corora project took the code and then modified it for Corora and then kind of ran with it. So, and Farlap is actually was the name of a racehorse. It scans your hardware in order to identify drivers and packages that match, and then gives you options. So, then there's something called one thing about open source software. Sometimes are the names. The Glubus Preview. Are you familiar with that?
No.
Glubus Preview is a GNOME application. Oh, that's GNOME app. That's why. It's based on Apple's Quick Look, enabling a full screen preview of any kind of file. I mean, they support all your common image extensions, your common document extensions, also source code like C++, Java, JavaScript, PHP, Python,
Shell script?
SH.
That's shell script.
There you go. Audio, your MP3, OGG, etc. Video, and then others like plain text, TFF. I don't know what that is.
TIFF? Is it TIFF? That's a image
TFF?
format.
TFF.
Oh,
TIFF.
TIFF is TIF.
TIF. That's it. Yeah, those were the first images I worked with. way back in the day when we did image scanning at work. They had a full scale of a full array, I should say, of graphics apps, and they had something called EekBoard, which of course is an on-screen keyboard, so that will forward any keylogger that may be installed on your system. OpenShot is already installed, which I thought was kind of
Now,
nice.
the on-screen keyboard, it'll obviously work with
Mhm.
mouse clicks on the individual keys.
Mhm.
But what if you have a touchscreen monitor? Will it allow you to touch the keys?
You know, I was unable to test that because I don't have a touchscreen monitor, and I would have leave little footprints, little fingerprints all over my monitor. I don't know. I'm not sure. Huh. Well, I'll look into that.
And would it, if you touched it instead of using the mouse,
Yeah.
would that then defeat the keylogger? Because it's still passing the key press to the API somehow, right?
Yeah. Oh, I think
And
that.
how does it defeat the
I
keylogger
think
in
that's
the
an
first
opportunity for a security bit sometime in the future.
place?
I'm gonna punt that off to Tony.
She wants to move it
That's
along
right. I'm
and
gonna.
shut me up.
You know, it only defeats physical keyloggers because
okay.
there's software keyloggers
Right,
and
that-
it's
that makes-
still taking input, so it's still logging that.
Because it's still got to pass the key press to the API.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Mm,
So
okay.
if it's a software keylogger, it's not going to defeat anything.
exactly.
Okay.
All right. It also has getting back to Corora's programs. It also has something called Pomodoro. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
The Pomodoro
Sounds
technique.
like a hairdo.
It does. It does, doesn't it? Or a little dog, or that's Pomeranian. The Pomodoro technique is a time management method which uses a timer to break down work into intervals traditionally 25 minutes in length, separated by short breaks. So those intervals are known as pomodoris, which is, I guess, plural for the Italian word for tomato. Now, it should not be confused with the Tomicadoro method, which separates breaks into 25-minute lengths, interspersed with short bursts of work.
That's my method. I thought that was the Ender's method.
Yeah, well, I'm sure it's there too. It also has a section for problem reporting, and this is really a collection of software tools for analyzing reporting of software issues. I opened the app, and it has a two-panel interface, which I suspect operates similar to a hierarchy. On the left side would be the main category, and on the right, maybe the sub category or details. It'll also designate whether there's a system or whether it's a system or user problem, although I did not see the word PEBCAC anywhere.
Mhm.
All I saw was no problems detected notice.
At the end of every shift, whoever's doing monitoring
Mm-hmm.
at where I work
Mm-hmm.
has to send what's called a monitoring report to. We have to send it to the help desk, the ESG, and
Mm-hmm.
to several groups inside. And I actually had PEBCAC in my monitoring report because it was my PEBCAC.
Oh, that's funny. That's funny. All right. And then finally, there's an SE Linux troubleshooter, which is really a graphical user interface to help diagnose SE Linux policy problems and other related matters. Now, aside from the few minor annoyances I noted, I found Corora to be a very capable distro for anyone wanting a Fedora experience with some of that work done for you. In other words, some of the install work of Flash and some of those other things all taken care of, so you don't have to deal with it. And that's really what they say on their website was the intent of the project. So I give Corora 3.2 cups of coffee. So it was
All
good.
right.
It was good.
Did we ever figure out what these cups of coffees were out of?
No, fine Colombian,
No,
picked by Juan
no, I mean a
Valdez,
number like.
roasted
out
over
of
a little
5?
campfire.
Are they out of 10?
Oh, it's out of 5.
Are they out of 4?
Yeah, it's out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah, if you're above 2.5, you're okay. I think what was the lowest I gave? 2.1 to something.
No, I've seen you give zeros, I thought.
Oh, maybe there was one once. All right. So anyway, that is this week's Linux, or this episode's Linux distro.
Well, all right.
Yeah. All right, and we're going on to
It's time for the tech news of the week.
the news this week. All right, so I found a couple articles, but it's more security related. What did you find, Mary?
I have got, let me tell you what I have. I'm pulling, actually, I had it up here, but I'm trying to open about 3 websites. I have got one Linux's worst case scenario, Windows 10 makes secure boot mandatory, locks out other operating systems.
Yeah, granted, it wasn't like an official announcement, but it was on an official slide from an official presentation. There was a line that said that they were intended to do this, and from what I read about it, it sounded like it was
I think manufacturers have the option to not include, in other words, to still
right, but
provide
they
the
all
option.
want that Windows certified sticker, and they're not going to get it unless they do it. But what it does is makes a check, because they're also offering free upgrades from Windows 7 and Windows 8 to Windows 10. And there are some Windows 7 machines out there. I don't know if any Windows 8 machines, but there are Windows 7 machines out there on hardware that doesn't have UEFI. So
Mhm.
if it doesn't have it, how can you upgrade? How can you run Windows 10 if it doesn't have UEFI? Well, what I think they're going to do, this is again just supposition between myself and some people online.
You and your other
that
personalities? No.
some people online that I've been reading, that they're probably going to institute a check where it checks for UEFI, and if the hardware is UEFI enabled, will require you to use UEFI. But if it's not UEFI enabled,
Oh,
you know what I
okay.
mean?
Yeah, I think I know what you mean. So you then would still have a little more flexibility.
Right.
It seems to me this would be probably a boon for laptop manufacturers like System 76
Exactly.
and Reason.
Exactly, because new hardware obviously all is UEFI, so it will all be locked down. So I won't be running a Dell anymore. I'll have to be running like a System 76 or a Reason
Mm-hmm.
that Mary already is running.
Yep, that's right. With PCBSD. So
Well,
yeah.
I think IX systems too might make laptops, not just servers. But I may
do
be
they?
wrong.
I
I don't
know
know.
they make servers.
They have this funny thing called the internet.
You're gonna go check on that.
I am.
All right. Well, do you want me to move on while you look?
Yes.
Okay. The other news item I had, this came out almost a week ago, but I still found it kind of interesting, is that Oracle, and we touched on this during the distro, our distro updates, our distro releases. Oracle adds secure-ish boot support to its Linux distro, but how secure is it?
Secure-ish.
Yeah. Well, apparently, it includes.
Just
Okay.
IX systems only does servers. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was wrong.
That's all right. What was that? You were wrong.
I was wrong.
All right. Anyway, this Oracle, this Oracle Linux distro includes something called kexec_load, which what it does is it will load a new kernel from the current address space. Now, the reason why that's kind of important is because what they did here, and again, there'll be a link to this in the show notes. They basically took
Case place.
no, they took the only kernel Oracle will supply with any meaningful security is the one that's just a direct copy of the Red Hat kernel source, and they also copied the Red Hat key, I think, and just renamed it Oracle 301. Now the 301 happened to be the name of the key. It was its serial number, the Red Hat serial number version. They just again they must have like a global find and replace.
Yeah, they just Oracle is just horrible. Larry Ellison is a horrible human being.
Yeah, but what will happen is that this kexec_load can take another kernel and kind of shove it in there, and so that is a security flaw.
Well, Case Place does that.
Oh, maybe that's I don't know what Case Place is
And
though.
then
Okay.
starting with Linux kernel 4.0, which is the next one coming,
Yeah.
they're
You can just
they're gonna
replace
have it
the good
also.
kernel with the broken kernel, own the system, and then kexec into the backdoored good kernel. So anyway, so it just goes to show you. I'm not sure what, but it shows you something.
I don't know.
So
All right.
that was my one. That was my second news item, and then the last one I have is this is from the "Is that an oxymoron or are you just unhappy to see me?" department. We have this: the Senate Intelligence Committee. That's
Is that an oxymoron?
yeah, advances terrible, and then they had cybersecurity bill. They crossed that out and put surveillance bill in secret session. And they kept the secret until I think like last Tuesday night when Senator Richard Burr, he kept the bill secret, yeah, until Tuesday night when it finally, I think, went out into this committee meeting. But the problem with it is there are a couple of countermeasures and monitoring powers. And aside from its redundancy, sorry, I'm kind of jumping here. Let me just retrace. The Senate Intelligence Bill grants two new authorities to companies. They first will be able to launch countermeasures called defensive measures against a cybersecurity threat. Now, this is the cybersecurity purpose and threat is so broadly defined that you can kind of slice it and dice it almost any way you want, and thus broaden the ability to go out there and monitor and kind of pull in data. The second thing is that it adds this new authority for companies to monitor information systems to protect an entity's hardware or software. Again, the broad and I got this from the EFF.org website. Again, it's a very broad, and some of these had already been defined in 2012 measure rule law. But EFF.org thought they should have really just used the language that had already been clearly defined. Instead, they kind of come back with this because they wanted to really broaden it out. And I really think what they're trying to do is kind of partner with the companies so that will undermine the company's reticence to provide this data to government requests. In other words, you kind of get chummy and then you're more inclined to give this stuff up. I mean, it's bothersome to me. It's just, again, an overbroad use of information. That's the concern.
All interrogators use that technique.
Mm-hmm.
Police do that. When they pull you over and they give you that ticket, they're
Good.
all friendly and want to talk to you. Bullshit. Just don't talk to them. Keep your mouth shut.
Mm-hmm. I agree. I still got the ticket though. Remember that ticket?
You'll
I
still get
was
the
on the way
ticket.
to I was on the way to record.
You're gonna get the ticket anyway.
When we were in. Yeah.
Okay.
I did.
You will. You will get it anyway.
It
whether you
didn't go to
talk
my
them or
insurance
not.
company though. I had to pay $110 to go through this online driving course.
Last time
I passed.
Last time I got a ticket from a cop, he started asking me all these questions. I said, I don't answer questions. He goes, okay, I'll write it down for you.
Oh, anyway, but so those are my news items.
All right. I found a few, like I said, they were more security related. One of them is no browsers is secure. All major browsers are hacked at 2015 Pwn to Own
Yep,
contest.
the Pwn to
Oh,
Own, everything fell.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
posted that.
The major
just
ones.
today. I just saw that. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Who was first to go down?
Firefox.
I think IE was the first to go down, weren't they?
No, they're. I thought they're sunsetting IE, aren't they?
Well, it's not going to be called IE anymore, but
Spartan?
it's still going to be IE.
Well, actually, everything I heard, it's full new code.
Oh,
It's
really?
not.
Whose code did they steal? I
That one I don't know.
Huh.
Yeah,
That would
but
be good to know.
yeah, but my it says in here the victims are Safari on OS X, Chrome on Windows, Firefox on Windows, and less surprisingly, Internet Explorer on Windows.
All of them on Windows.
I was just gonna
Yeah.
say, all in Windows.
Yep, and it does go on to say that no browser exploits were successfully demonstrated on Linux or other open source operating systems.
Oh, shocker.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
so
there you go.
But what's interesting is one guy, Yang Hun, Jung is how you say his first name.
Young.
Yeah, Yang Hun.
Young Hoon Lee.
Oh yeah. All right, but his largest prize was $225,000.
Wow.
It's because
Man.
he demonstrated a bug in Chrome on Windows and another one in Chrome Beta and Internet Explorer and Apple Safari. So all of them combined, came up with that price.
Wow. I
Yeah.
mean, you could. That's.
I'm in the
like
wrong
a
business.
2 or 3 years. Yeah, salary. Just
That's a year. Now he,
Yeah.
now he's
Yeah,
just got to
just sit
work
around
for,
and play with computers for a year and then show up at Pwn to Own and be really good.
I have a feeling though that he does a lot of studying and stuff.
Well,
Yeah.
yeah, you'd
have
have
to.
to, but
Oh yeah, and if you
You-
did that as a full-time job, but you get paid once a year, You know, I mean,
I could do it. I could live. Pay me $225 once a year. I think I can make that work.
Yeah. You can set it up so that that it sits in this account, but then it gets there's a direct deposit into your checking account
Yeah.
every 2 weeks, and that's how
Yep.
you do it.
yeah. They said the one browser that it's popular, but just not the biggest one that was not exploited was Opera.
I use Opera.
I got
Yeah.
Opera installed here. Opera, and I've said this before, and I'll say it again. Opera was the first browser to use tabs.
Okay.
Yeah. They
I-
also said that the Chinese researchers did do additional exploits on Internet Explorer 11 through Firefox or through Flash.
Oh, I'm not
So
surprised.
Flash is buggy still,
Yeah.
which is going away. Anyway, so I thought that was interesting. And then as a follow-up, Mozilla releases Firefox 36.0.3 to patch security vulnerabilities disclosed at Pwn to Own. So update your Firefox if that's what you use.
Okay.
So,
So
it was
Opera
just,
was not cracked.
and this is what's awesome about open source software is that Pwn to Own was last week, and Firefox has already taken those and fixed and has a new version available.
Well, IE has a fix out, right?
Nope, not yet.
Matt, you're mean. You know, and it's funny you say that, Tony, because on Friday, I have a Windows system I use, for my financial market software during the day. There was an update, Firefox update on Friday afternoon, or at some point on Friday, I think it was for that. I'm sure it's for that. I didn't
Yeah.
realize it at the time, though.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I bet the IE updates will come patch Tuesday in like 2 months. It'll be
I'll
like
check,
May patch
yeah.
Tuesday.
If
Yeah.
Hey,
Uh.
if then, else.
All right, and then
Else if.
Or ELIF,
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 Yeah, ELIF. That's it. ELIF.
Python.
It means it. That's what it in Bash too. But it
Oh,
means
okay.
else if.
Well, that's good to know. I might be also learning Bash and not even know it.
Maybe loops are pretty much loops, and if statements
Yeah.
are pretty much if statements. So
yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of the basics or the theory behind programming is
Right.
common across them all.
right. So
Mhm.
once you have a really solid grasp on the basics, actually learning the other languages aren't very difficult.
Yeah, and
Yeah, it's all syntax from there.
yeah, not to digress too much, but the focus of this course is informatics, which is pulling information and processing information. So which I kind of like, and so I'm hoping I do well.
All right.
I'm
There you go.
halfway through, or over halfway through. So
All right.
Yeah. And then the last one I found is how to encrypt cloud storage files and folders in Linux. So,
And how? How, Tony? Please tell how.
well, it goes on and says, why should you do this? And obviously, most everybody that listens to us knows, but most cloud services don't encrypt it at all. And if they do, they encrypt it on their drive. So
Right.
any traffic between you and them is the file itself is not encrypted.
Right.
It might have a tunnel that's encrypted, but they can still decrypt it
Yep. They
and
can.
hand it
So
off
your
to.
data is not safe,
That's right.
and that's why TarSnap is so good. The encryption is done on the local machine,
yeah,
yeah, Spider Oak does that too.
But-
so that at TarSnap they can't decrypt anything. And if they get that subpoena, all they can say is, "Yeah, he has this much data here, and this is when he connected."
yeah.
And I don't have the key.
Well, and you can actually this tutorial walks you doing the same thing with, and you can still use the Google Drive or Dropbox or what you do, but you encrypt it first and then tell Google Drive or your cloud service to then sync that encrypted drive or folder, and it
Cool.
uses
At what level does that encryption occur again? I'm sorry, Tony.
it
You said that
encrypts it
already.
on your laptop before it's synced up to the cloud.
Right, but if my Dropbox folder is 50 gigabytes, it will encrypt all
You
50 gigabytes and then sync the whole thing? Or does it encrypt at
Well,
the file
the
level
initial-
and then just
No, it encrypts the file level, like individual files are encrypted.
oh, okay. Okay, which to me makes on the face of it makes more sense, I guess.
Yeah. So if you change one
Right,
file,
because I would
it
want to.
changes
I
one.
might want to encrypt, my healthcare records, but I really could care less about encrypting my grocery list.
Hmm.
Well, no, I think what Mary was
How long is that
concerned
grocery
is,
list?
was it one big
Quite long.
container? Like, is it all right? And what Mary's question though is, is individual files encrypted, or is it one big container that has to be
Synced.
synced
Ah.
each time? Like, is it a 50 gig file that's being updated, or individual files?
Right.
Small
Mhm.
files,
I was just thinking about
Your grocery list.
right?
no CPU cycles.
Oh,
Doing
yeah.
the encryption. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be pretty busy. That would be an
So-
excuse to upgrade the RAM.
Yeah.
I need 8 gigs of
That
RAM.
doesn't really help with CPU cycles.
Oh, you're oh, you're right. And I
Alright,
know
alright.
that. I do know that. I don't know what I
Anyway,
was thinking.
so this article goes through saying it uses ENCFS or EncryptFS.
Oh, okay. I've heard of
Um,
that.
And unlike other encryption programs, it creates two folders. In that folder will have your decrypted, which is don't worry, it is still inaccessible, and the second folder will have the encrypted files.
Hmm.
And then it goes through an apt-get install for Debian-based systems.
Oh, that's good.
And then you have that encrypted folder is what you sync with Dropbox.
So a link to that will be in the show notes.
It is. Yeah, so it's
Cool.
neat stuff.
Okay.
And that's everything I found.
Cool beans, dude.
Okay. Is that your security update too?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
So now it's
Two.
KDE corner.
Yes, and I actually oh my gosh, I didn't put it in here.
It's here.
Why don't you go ahead and just why don't you just mention it?
And the KDE corner this episode is going to be on President Lydia Pincher on the role of a nonprofit in open source development.
Yes, I'm glad you said that. Okay, I know what it is now.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually it was a good article because it talked about the the KDE. I call it a foundation, and that's the vehicle for fundraising, for kind of quote unquote marketing and getting the word out for a lot of the admin kinds of functions, so that the KDE project itself could just focus on the stuff it does best. And she also talks about the role of women in open source software, and obviously it's always, I think it would be good to have a little
Right.
more.
I saw a great article on that. Not
Mhm.
necessarily an article. I think it was more of like an op-ed where we talked about women in tech are the canary in the coal mine, and
Really?
they're the equivalent of the canary in a coal mine.
Hmm.
Okay, the purpose of the canary in the coal mine is to let you know when the environment is becoming toxic. The canary dies.
Okay.
When the canary dies in the canary in a coal mine scenario,
Mhm.
you don't replace the canary. You get the F out.
Mhm.
Okay, because
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
not healthy.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But in tech, all these women are leaving tech or not even coming into tech, and tech's solution is lean in, just get more women in here.
More canaries.
Yeah, exactly. They're not fixing the problems.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah.
just bring more women in, and that's
Yeah.
not the problem. Is not the lack of women. The problem is why
The
are
environment.
women being a lack?
The
Why
root cause.
right? Why is there a lack of women? What is the root cause of that?
Right.
And it's the toxic environment. It's not the fact
Yeah.
that there aren't enough canaries.
Yeah. No, that's a good. No, that's a good point. But anyway, so that's what I found very interesting about the article. Was kind of that she talked about that, and
I was just wondering if she happened to touch on that aspect, or if she didn't touch on that at all.
no,
Was
she
just-
didn't go into the detail.
Was she on the?
She was
band- just-
interviewed by Linux.com, I think it
Right.
was.
But was she just on the bandwagon of yes, we need to get more women, and not fix the problems for to draw more women in?
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was just wondering which camp she was in, if they'd even asked that question.
I don't think they asked it in that fashion, but there was something I was going to say and I just forgot
Oh,
it.
I'm sorry. Mary.
I know, happens more and more. Oh,
Doesn't
it
it
was
to
kind of
us
related
all?
to no, it was kind of related to this. Yeah, it's floating there. I can just kind of see it. I can see it, but I can't reach through the cloud. Yeah. All right. So, well, I guess what we'll do is if it suddenly occurs to me, we'll
Just
circle
blurt
back.
it out. Just blurt
I'll
it
blurt
out.
it out. And say, oh, yeah, I remember what it was. Because that does happen occasionally. Well, I guess what we'll go ahead and do is move on to.
Where is it? There it is.
Now it's time for Mary's quiz show. Is it alive?
Yes. Is it alive?
Is it alive?
I just knew that I always like to overload myself on the weeks that I have the distro review. And yeah, I'm going to do the game show this week.
It's because you get in that mode of actually, working, doing something. I guess,
Yes. Exactly. So anyway, so is it alive or is it dead? Now that is going to give you a clue. This is not a twist week. We're going back. We're going retro.
Oh, straight up,
going
is it alive?
Legacy or retro? Yes. So during this segment of the show, I challenge Matt and Tony to identify whether a Linux distro is alive or dead. Now, sometimes they do twist the concept, and I think I've done that a couple times in a row. So I thought, time to return to the roots, the distro roots.
All right.
Time to return to root / So as I said, this week is not a twist week. So the question is straight up: is this name distro alive or dead? And there's no extra credit, so you guys are gonna have to be on your toes. Okay, the first one is called GNU Linux Utopia.
Alive.
Dead.
It's alive.
Yes.
All right. Next one is Tux Hat Linux.
Dead.
Dead.
It's alive.
Ooh.
It's alive. Tux Hat Linux is an Arch-based. I forgot to tell you, Linux Utopia is a distribution based on Slackware. It also uses the Enlightenment as the principal desktop. And then Tux Hat Linux is an Arch-based distro using the KISS principle. That's a big sloppy kiss. No, just kidding. So
Keep it simple.
yeah. So anyway, I'll have a
Stupid.
link to it. So anyway, so what's the score?
It would be
1-0.
1-0.
All right. The next one is Unidaki Naps.
Dead.
It's alive.
Oh.
Jesus.
I know it's an Ubuntu. It's not that old either. It's an Ubuntu custom homemade distro for VirtualBox users and audio groups. So that's kind of a diverse audience for this distro. But it's based on Ubuntu 12.04, so they haven't updated it yet, but you can still download it, and it still shows as alive. The next one is Durble, DRBL, and that stands for.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say alive.
I know. what
Tony
it is.
said, queuing off Matt's excitement.
I know. Yeah, I know what it is, and I've used it, but I actually think it's dead. It's a live run distro, right?
It's a diskless remote boot in Linux.
Yes.
It's alive.
Ah, son of a
Yes.
bitch.
It's free software, open source solution for managing the deployment
I
of
can't
GNU
win. I
Linux.
can't even draw now.
All right. The next one is called Vector in Pup.
Dead.
Dead.
It's alive.
Oh my
Wow.
God, she didn't have one freaking dead distro.
We got one more
Is that
here.
the last one? Oh, okay.
Yeah, we got one more. This is a Vector in Pup is a cross between Vector Slackware Linux packages and Slacko Puppy Linux. Yeah, it's good on old and new PCs. So I got a link to that particular distro, and it's alive, as I said. All right, the last one is RLSD, Retro Linux Libre Software Distribution.
Dead.
Alive.
It's got to be dead.
It's alive.
Oh my God.
Yes.
It's a live GNU Linux Libre distro.
I don't think I've
retro
ever been skunked. Have
applications.
I ever been skunked before? Did you ever skunk me before?
No, but you've been a skunk. So it revives old hardware and the way computing used to be in the late 90s. So it's kind of retro, but it's alive.
And I got skunked.
Yeah, it respects users' freedom, and again, you can use it on 64-bit and x86. So yeah, so that's Retro Linux Libre Software. So join us. Well, I guess I'm going to announce the winner. The winner is Tony, Tone Man, Mr. T.
Yes.
All right,
Skunked me.
he did. Man, I'm kind of surprised.
I am shocked.
I actually tried to find dead ones, but all the ones I were finding were alive, and I kind of like the name, like Tux Hat, Durble, and then I thought Unidaki Naps they're going to think it's dead because it's such an odd name. But it uses, it's actually Unidaki. Oh, you know what I did? I left off the Y. That would have probably changed it.
Oh yeah, sure.
Unidaki net.
Out of one, what? I call for a rematch.
It's a Ubuntu custom homemade distro for. Oh, I think I
It
mentioned
totally
that.
threw me off my game when you left that Y off, Mary.
It uses Daki. Could you guess? But anyway, so join us next time, not next episode, but next
Right.
time for another edition of Is It Alive?
Dun,
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 dun. All right, I'm sure we sound better than that canned music.
dun. All right. Well, that was a good one.
Yeah, I bet you think it was.
All
Yeah,
right,
you're
going-
still smiling.
Yeah, going on.
It's listener feedback time.
And our phone number is 734-258-7009.
So Trucker Rich, write it down.
That's right. You can also email us at show@smlr.us.
Mhm.
show@smlr.us. And we also have a listener feedback form on our page, not
Webpage.
form.
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 And you can
that's
also,
right.
if you respond to our G Plus posts, we will also include that.
That's
Mhm.
right.
And yeah, we got we got a fair amount of listener feedback, and we got a donation. And
we
I
do.
think we need to start off things with our donation.
That's right.
So, do you have that handy, Tony
I do.
or Matt? And I want to thank because we were that will just help defray the cost of our spacious, expansive backdrop for YouTube.
Right. It was a donation from Bill and Denise from Philly.
That's right.
And it was a substantial donation.
Yes,
I
we
think
thank
it was
you
our biggest
very much.
donation to date, right?
Today, that's
Yeah,
right.
our largest donation to date. And we want to thank them very much.
Mm-hmm.
And just thank you.
Yep.
Do it again.
Yep.
Yeah.
It will be spent wisely for various hardware things for the
we were
show.
recently just talking about
Mhm.
some hardware upgrades too, so
Yeah.
So
that'll come in handy.
it will.
And
So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And they wanted us to also point out how easy it is for the rest of you. We have a button right on our webpage that you click it, put a number in PayPal, and whammo bammo, you have donated.
The more zeros you put, the better, though.
Yeah. A nice sized first number is not bad either.
Yeah, that's true. No, anything will be gratefully accepted.
Yes,
but
very
we
much
really
so.
were grateful to these guys,
So Bill and
Yes.
Denise from Philly, thank you very much.
friends of the show.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
All right, and then
Xander emails us.
okay,
He says to watch the Apple engineer talk about the new 2015 MacBook.
I missed that post.
I didn't have that one either.
He did he send it to me
He
or
must
to the
send it-
show or?
I don't think he didn't send it to show, or I'd have gotten it. I get it all now that you changed my.
Actually, this was like the day before I changed that.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he sent it to show, and I didn't watch it. I'm sorry, Xander.
He
I've
promises
heard some
he
really
will
good
watch
things
it.
But
about
if I'd have gotten it, I'd have watched it. Sandy,
Yeah.
just so you know.
That's right.
So Tony's assignment is to watch it over the next couple weeks and
Yeah.
report back. Report back during next episode's listener feedback.
Yeah.
The other one we got too was from Trent. This is just wanted to share some alternative ways to get VirtualBox working on the server. What I do is build the VM on my desktop, then export the OVA and SCP the OVA file over to the server. Either set up the VM completely or create a base image and clone it on the server with VBox managed commands. And X forwarding the VirtualBox GUI works okay too. So I think we had talked about that. We had last episode.
On a server, though, I pretty much, if you're going to use VMs and stuff like that,
VirtualBox working on the server.
I don't use VMs. I'm not a big fan of VMs, although I am looking into jails a little bit. I think I'm going to try to do something with jails. I'm not sure what, but I don't think I would have the graphical installed on a server. That's I have yet to install X11 on any server I've ever installed. So
yeah, but And that's probably because you're quite handy at the command line.
Well, I don't think any. Have you ever installed X on any server you've installed, Tony?
I have once
I
just
have.
because to get um, the VMware
Oh.
running on it, and it was because it required X, but then you can just tell in the startup, you can tell it not to start X. It's available to run, but it doesn't run at
Okay.
start. So only if you get in and you say start X, it actually launches and starts using the RAM. And yeah, and I believe it might be that that VirtualBox requires X just to install.
Really?
Also,
That's
I
a
think
horrible
so.
requirement, though. The disk space alone
Yeah.
that it requires. I mean,
Disk space is
I don't-
cheap.
maybe, but it still annoys me that I have to give it to something I'm never going to use.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's good stuff.
Yep. So that was from Trent, and that came in via Google Plus.
Mark time? We're at 1:30.
Okay.
I don't want
We're-
to use that guy's name.
Oh, Ruben.
I was
No,
gonna-
he's fine. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Ruben.
No. Oh, maybe I'm talking
You
about
are
Ruben.
talking about
Yeah.
him.
And we're using his name right now, aren't we?
Well,
Oh, shoot. We are.
it's only on the YouTube.
I don't
feed.
know. Yeah, it's only on YouTube.
Right, but
1:30. Okay, let me.
because I mean he's really unbalanced, and I don't think it's because if to equate my opinion with terrorism is unbalanced. I don't care anything beyond that. You've just crossed the Hitler line. You know what I mean?
Mhm. And that.
Well, I'll let you talk about it.
Mhm.
All right.
All right.
So
Well,
we have two more left, and Matt, you were emailing back and forth with this other guy. Do you want to?
Yeah.
yeah, somebody took. I think just
yeah.
let me preface your comments, Matt, with just. I think this stemmed out of our conversation in the last episode about licensing,
Yes.
and I think it came out of the whole VMware suit
Yes.
discussion.
Where I expressed my opinion about the GPL.
Yeah, and
being
that was purely
oppressive.
wasn't the opinion of the show. That's
Not
Matt.
the opinion of the show,
Matt
not
Andrews'
the opinion of my
opinion.
employer. It's my opinion that
Um,
the GPL is oppressive.
mhm.
So, and
And
you're welcome to disagree with me, but when you take the route of this commenter and disagree with me by referring to my comments and equating to them with terrorism, you're unbalanced, sir, and we won't be using your name.
but I think, but just to kind of bring it back to more in the center, what I really appreciate about open source software are the choices and the kinds of licenses you can use. You can use the least restrictive licenses like the
Yep.
BSD licenses, and I think
Well,
there's a
that's not the least
two-paragraph.
restrictive.
There's a two-paragraph
There is.
BSD.
There's a the least
There's-
restrictive license is
There's
going to
no
be
license.
no. It would be because that's not really a license, but the WFTPL is my favorite license.
Right.
Okay.
Okay,
We
the
won't
last
talk-
two are public license, and then
Yes.
okay, I got you.
I've
I've not heard of that one.
Yes.
And Mary, actually, if there's no license, it defaults to full rights reserved. So nobody can do anything with your code at that point if there's no license
Really?
on it. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So-
I was unaware of that. Probably because I don't write code for public consumption.
And then there's the 4, the 3, and the 2 clause BSD license.
Hmm. And then there's the MIT, the Apache,
Yep.
just
Tons-
a number
tons
of.
them.
So I think really the bottom line is if you're a developer,
And they all have, except for the WFTPL, all have their degree of oppressiveness.
Mhm.
Nothing is not oppressive to a completely 100% degree, and the GPL is very oppressive in my opinion.
and that's Matt's opinion.
It is my opinion.
My opinion is you got choice, and if you don't like the provisions of the GPL, then there perhaps is another license that
Yes.
will suit you. So anyway, and that's the nice thing about open source software. And by the way, too, I just wanted to mention that if you Google open source license types, you'll come up with some really good websites that will kind of walk you through the hierarchy,
Oh yeah,
the pros and cons of
and it
various.
lays them all out and tells
Yes.
you how to. And
If
as a
you
matter
are
of fact,
looking for this kind of thing,
Right.
then these licenses are
the
more to your liking.
BSD 3 clause and 2 clause both have their own websites with color graphics that,
Mhm.
that explain the license very well. I couldn't find one for BSD 4 clause, but it's
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's kind of like,
it's not
don't
used-
sue
it's
us
used-
and
it's
just
used-
keep this copyright thing
yeah,
in there.
It's
you know?
used so the
So-
4 clause is used so little now that it's
Mhm. Yeah.
not
So
really pertinent.
anyway, so I appreciated the opportunity to talk about the licenses and just to show how broad, how lucky we are that
Yes.
there are these choices that we've got
Yes.
in the open source community.
Yes.
So, all right.
Yeah.
What other user or listener feedback do we have?
I still have 2 more.
Okay, go ahead, Matt.
Which one do you have, Tony? So that
Julian that we mentioned earlier.
okay. Because I also have one from Toby.
I don't see that.
That's because it came in, and he says, "Oh no, this one we've had for a while. It says another super show. Keep up the great work, guys. I particularly like how much attention you devote to the BSDs. Top notch."
Oh,
Hey.
all right. Well, I am going to take that as my marching orders.
Oh, you know why, Tony? It was he replied to my repost of your post about last episode.
All
That's
right.
why I only- I
Oh,
have it.
okay. All right. Well, that's good though. I'm gonna, yeah. Oh, and just speaking of BSDs, BSD Now podcast, and I'm just gonna give them a little bump here.
Only listen to them after you've listened to us.
Yeah, that's right. Only listen to them. That's really a great BSD podcast. Co-hosts Chris Moore and Alan Jude cover the gamut.
Yeah,
Um,
I really like Alan
interviews,
Jude.
Yeah,
I follow
just
him on
very.
Twitter.
Yeah, he's very. He seems very intelligent. Because he probably is. But anyway, I really like that podcast. They appeal to, I think, kind of a broad base of BSD users, developers, and then just plain users like me. Although I'm kind of a newbie user. So, but yeah, I think maybe I'll have a little BSD thing next time.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I tried to do once though? And then I realized it was a crazy project to take on. I in an Excel, Excel, not Excel, in a Calc
There you
spreadsheet.
go. LibreOffice Calc.
it was
meant
Calc.
to say LibreOffice Calc.
It was too. In a Calc spreadsheet, I had pasted the entire file structure hierarchy for FreeBSD, and then for Linux, I did it in a second one. And what I wanted to do was to then kind of talk about the similarities and differences. And then I realized, this is a bigger project than I
Yeah.
thought.
And there's also a POSIX,
Standard.
right?
Mhm.
File system hierarchy standard. and
Yeah,
you
which
could
I've
then-
not
which you could
really
then
looked at.
include, though, and also say how they the
Oh,
the two
that would
diverge.
be an interesting project, really, because POSIX is more kind of the pure Unix standard, right?
Well, it is.
I mean, it's the one that Unix.
It's the
that's-
Unix standard.
Yeah. Oh, I think that would be kind of an interesting project. Oh, maybe I'll put that right behind my Linux from scratch project.
So it's got that same kind of priority there.
Yeah.
All right.
No, I think it would be kind of interesting. The problem is that you can go into a directory and into another level because there may be some there may be some notable information in that directory structure down to a subdirectory, blah blah blah. So my point is that you could almost go down the rabbit hole after all this stuff and end up with this huge voluminous project. And we wouldn't want to do that. So. But I will take this on.
I might beat you to that. Once I get done with after PenguinCon, when my life returns to a little
Okay.
semblance of normalcy, I might take that.
Yeah,
on.
I think it would be
All
interesting.
right.
All right. So what do we got now?
Well, just a little bit of announcement about that. PenguinCon again. We're gonna be having Kevin on next week.
Next episode.
Woohoo! Next episode, not next week.
And our episode is going to change because our
Yeah.
normal day.
The
Go ahead.
live recording will be on Saturday.
Yeah.
Because the
Easter Bunny.
the that Sunday is a Judeo-Christian holiday
That's right.
that is
So
to be unnamed.
It's not
Easter.
Judeo. It's just Christian. The Judeos, they celebrate Passover.
Exactly,
So
which happens at the same time.
close, but not always on the same time.
It should always be on the same time because
Okay.
they happened at the same time.
All right. There you have it. Our religion lesson. But anyway, just to reiterate, we'll be doing our live recording on Saturday morning.
That's why Easter moves,
Hmm.
because it has to stay with Passover, which moves, because they track it by the moon and all that
Stuff.
okey dokey stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you have it.
All right. And then we're
Tony
Gonna-
has a stricken look on his face. Do we veer off too far, Tony?
it's all right. I was gonna try to add a little bit to it, but then I couldn't remember all the dates and everything, so I
Oh, the dates for our episode? Is it-
no
No, the
about Easter and
Easter stuff,
Passover
right.
and 40 days after Fat Tuesday, or not Fat Tuesday, but it's
Ash Wednesday.
Ash Wednesday,
Mhm.
and how the Christian religion's closer to being has so many nuances from other paganism
Oh,
religions and stuff,
to
and
gain
blah, blah,
acceptance, they
blah.
adopted
Right.
many of the pagan
Yeah.
Yeah.
pagan dates.
They did.
Saturnalia is really Christmas is really Saturnalia.
Well,
Or
when
Festivus.
when they took over the Vikings, when Rome and the Vikings clashed a lot
Mm-hmm.
of our stuff was actually incorporated because they were trying to get the pagans of that believed in like Thor and Odin. They were trying to get them in, so a lot of that got actually incorporated too.
Oh yeah,
Much
like winter
more than you
solstice.
actually realized.
Winter
Mhm.
solstice.
So
Yeah. Actually, speaking of Viking pagans, they're building a pagan temple, first pagan temple in Reykjavik, Iceland, in 1,000 years.
Uh-huh.
Some, yeah. Okay.
yeah, because like where they worshipped Thor, it was at this oak tree in I forget the name of the town.
And they recorded it all on a Linux desktop.
in Sweden. No, what's now Sweden, and they at this oak
Mhm.
tree. Or was it in Germany? Might have been in Germany.
Is that
Yeah,
the same Thor
Yggdrasil?
with the gigantic?
There was a Linux
hammer?
distro named
Yeah.
after that tree, or
No, that tree's Yggdrasil. and
Yeah,
that had a
Yggdrasil.
That's not
okay.
this tree.
Oh, okay. It's a different tree.
Yggdrasil is the thing that holds up the universe.
Okay.
That's the tree that holds up the universe. But anyway, they and when they conquered this town, the Romans, they cut the tree down and they built the church on top of where it was at.
Wow.
Nice.
Well, because the point is people are used to coming there to worship, so they cut that tree down and then put the church there. And people were used to coming there to worship, still come there to worship, but
And they're
Oh, yeah,
forced
right.
to take on the
Yes.
Rome and
the Christianity.
yeah.
Mm. Okay.
All right. All right. So
Wow, where did that come from?
good thing we're toward the end of the show here.
Yeah.
Going
You
on
can always hit that
to
stop button.
that's right. Going on to
Featured music of the week.
the music this week.
Well, we never talked about Julian.
Yeah. Oh well. Julian Makalulu.
Yes.
There we go.
That's what Julian said, that he's looking forward to hearing about Makalulu Linux on the next show. So, Julian, we
right.
appreciate you.
And we appreciate Tony.
Yes.
'Cause Tony,
Never change.
the mirth
Tony.
and merriment.
Never
Yeah.
change.
Thanks. All right. Well, let's try this again. Next up is
Featured music of the week.
the music for this week.
Did you listen to it?
No.
Oh, good.
When
So
did you send it to me? It was,
Yesterday.
Yeah, I was driving out to my parents' house.
Okay. Well, good.
Anyway,
We'll fire
so
this baby up. I think you'll like
spring-
it.
Springtime anthem.
Yeah.
Is that it?
Is that it? Is it just dead air?
No,
Let the dancing begin.
it
followed
starts
by
slow.
nothing.
It starts slow.
Dance.
Come on now. House party. House party.
I think we should all stand up and dance. Oh, that would be frightening. I just want to make sure I don't get too close to the fist. For anyone who's listening, Matt was doing these dance gestures, which consisted of one fist straight up in the air and the other one extended forward, and then he'd switch. And I'm sitting next to him, so I was afraid that I was going to be
kind of like
pummeled.
suicide trombones with fists. If you've ever seen suicide trombones.
And I didn't want to get pummeled. All right.
All right. Oh, I started playing it, and I don't. Did we even say what it was? That was
No.
called Springtime Anthem
Yes, you said Springtime Anthem.
Oh.
Before you started.
by Mediatronic.
Yeah, Mediatronic.
Mediatronic. Yeah.
So, kind of a dance trance song. What I
Yeah.
did on Jamendo is I typed in spring,
Hey.
and any of the new age stuff. I thought, no, this isn't gonna fly.
Right.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Mary. All right. So we've come to the end of the show. This was episode 147,
Spring.
Spring. And this is Tony Bemis.
Matt Enders
And Mary Tomich.
saying, see you next time.
All right.
All right.
And that song is from Essen, Germany, or the artist,
Ah,
formerly Eastern Germany. Okay. Shall we kill?
we're going to do the intro.
Oh yeah.
I think we should include the date when we do that intro. So this is episode 147 and
Sounds like a
recorded
job for
on
Tony.
No, I think.
recorded on March 22nd, 2015.
Yeah. Hey, anybody listening on YouTube, this doesn't make it into the final show yet until we. So this is just raw.
No, it does,
Yeah.
but it goes to the beginning of the
Yeah,
final show.
Yeah, the intro
exactly.
part.
But I think
And
we'll.
for some reason we chose to record it at the end.
Well, because then we know for
I'm
sure
still
we
kind
talked
of
about.
baffled on why.
Yeah. Hey, but let me just say though, but then we'll be kind of repeating what we repeat at the beginning of the show. This is.
Well, we don't.
Episode.
We never talk. We never give the date when we record
Okay.
a show. That's all I was saying.
And
It
you
does-
want this to send out to other shows, right? Was that the purpose of doing this?
no, just
No,
throw
just
it
a-
at the beginning
just a-
as like
just
a
a
short little teaser.
make it look
Well, then we don't
more
need to say our
professional.
names. We just need to
Yeah.
Oh,
do
you're
the
right.
date and the show name.
Okay.
Because if it's
Or
the
the-
beginning,
Actually, just the date and what's going to happen, and then Mary can say the show name
Mhm.
or whatever.
or
or
no,
the-
'cause we
the
say the show
beginning
name
of show
during
name.
the intro,
Yeah. So just the date and what's going to happen.
recorded on, and the episode number. I think.
Yeah. Well, sure. I don't care. What do you think, Mary? Mary's going to say it, so you can decide whether to say
yeah.
it or
What?
not.
You got elected to say that pretty quick.
I did, and I was off thinking on something else. I was thinking about coronal mass ejections because there's this big electronic or this big storm, and from the sun. Matt has pushed away from his mic, and I'm
I think he's laughing. I hope it doesn't give him a stroke again.
oh my god, I'm well. I'm going to explain the path my mind took. Are you there with me? Okay, here's what happened. I'm thinking, okay, now I want to talk about, on this episode, I'm gonna do a distro review, and I thought, Carora, but I didn't want to say the name early.
Right.
I wanted to say something maybe Aurora, and then I thought Aurora. Oh, this week there was a lot of Aurora Borealis, and that was from the coronal mass ejection, and that's kind of where that's. So there's some
There
method.
was some continuity, but
Yeah.
convoluted continuity.
My family likes me though. Anyway, so that's where it came from. I just was thinking of something clever to say.
Coronal mass ejections. That just struck me as amusing.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
And we should have had that as part of our show name, episode name.
We can.
CME.
It's not written yet.
Yeah, no, that's okay. But anyway, all right. Well, let's go ahead. All right. Oh, you're waiting for me to do it. All right. On this episode of Sunday Morning Linux Review, recorded March 22nd, 2015, we'll have Matt and Tony battling it out on an episode of Is It Alive?
Is it alive? Who will win?
Yes, stay tuned. We also will have a distro review on a interesting distro that rhymes with Aurora.
Right. We'll have some listener feedback.
Yeah, interesting
Actually,
listener feedback.
Quite a bit of listener feedback.
Yes. And of course, we'll have our normal witty banter. And news bits and
I think it's a little. You're setting us up for the fall there if you call it witty banter from the get-go.
banter that may or may not be witty.
There you go.
But anyway, stay tuned.
All right.
And we'll cut that.
All
Okay.
right. I don't know why that just struck me as
Coronal mass ejection.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, man.
Right.
I tell you.
Goodbye.
Okay,
Goodbye,
bye.
YouTube.
Bye, everyone.
YouTubers.